Is there cause for concern at Alabama after a win yesterday at home over USF, but 42-16 doesn't exactly reflect the flow of this game? Alabama scored 28 points in the fourth quarter because before that, it was 14-13 going into the fourth quarter against a good G5 team in USF. But like if you're an Alabama fan, you're like, hang on a second now. On the day that we renamed the field after Nick Saban, we're gonna mess around like that? Is there cause for concern? We'll talk about that right now. But if you're just a college football fan, if you're a Crimson Tide fan, make sure you are locked in right here. It's college football. It's nothing but college football. We happen to believe it is the best sport on the face of the planet. So we would love to have you all a part of this whole operation we're doing here. The best way to be a part of the operation is by being subscribed, and also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at JDBakel. But of course, make sure you're subscribed here. That's the most important thing. Okay, so let's get right to this. It's tough to break down a game like this because, as we mentioned with some other videos that we have sort of talking about the week 2 action that was, there was a lot of teams, Alabama being one of them, that had some games that were quite frankly way too close if you're going roster versus roster. Like if you put these two teams together in a college football 25 video game matchup, like Alabama's got their attributes way up here from a talent level, and USF's is not way down there, but let's be real here. There's a pretty wide talent gap between what Kalen DeBoer's Alabama team is and what USF is. Alabama wasn't out-schemed. I don't think Alabama was out-physicaled. I don't think Alabama just had it taken to them. Like Alabama just quite frankly did things that you cannot do. Doesn't matter if it's USF. Doesn't matter if it's Georgia. Now, the good news is if you do it against USF, there is a little bit more margin for error because of that talent gap. But you can't over-pursue on defense and miss tackles and expect to have no consequences for that. You can't get off or have struggle getting off blocks and then expect there to be no damage done when you're playing defense there. You can't miss tackles. You can't fumble the snap on the goal line. You can't fumble the snap, or you can't fumble the ball, period. You can't fumble the opening kickoff of the second half. Like all these things just go together to where it's like, yeah, you do enough bad things. You do enough things that are essentially self-inflicted wounds, like it's going to catch up with you. Let's be clear about this too. USF, that's not just some slappy G5 team. Like USF is a good football team under Alex Golesh, and they reminded Alabama fans of that because this game last year was a little bit too close for comfort as well when you went to USF. More on that in a little bit. On the day where they rename the field after Nick Saban, to see Alabama play that way, yeah, it does kind of perk your antennas up a little bit. It does kind of make you say, whoa, that does not look how we typically expect an Alabama football team to look. Kalen DeBoer, what's going on, brother? What we doing here? As concerning as that may be to see this team, not fire on all cylinders and at times struggle with USF, I think you have to also look at the way that Alabama responded. And the defense, I've been saying this, in the back end, I think it's still a work in progress. The good news is it doesn't have to be, ready to rock and roll just yet. But as concerning as that is, the response from this Alabama team, and more specifically Jalen Milroe, to me, is really encouraging. Because the temptation when you get into a game like this, going into the fourth quarter, it's G5 USF, you're at home, you're like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? There was no hyperventilation from Jalen Milroe. There was no overly emotional response. I saw a football team with some youth, sure, but they really attacked this game and attacked the situation in the fourth quarter like an adult does. I saw a lot of adult traits from Alabama in the fourth quarter of this game. Not overly emotional, assess the situation, get back to what you do, go to solutions, not lose your head because of the problem, go to your solutions and then go from there. That was what Alabama did. That was why they scored 28 points in the fourth quarter to finish the game they finished and to have that final score look a lot better than it did last year when you went to USF. Jalen Milroe never hit the panic button. I'll tell you this, when your quarterback doesn't panic, that's a stabilizer for the rest of your football team. Just one of the laws of football, pro, college, whatever. If your persona of your leadership is calm, cool, and collected, your team stays that way. And they have a lot to clean up. But I'll say, week 2, man, we saw a lot of teams have a lot to clean up. They have a very different box score. Some teams, a very different result than what Alabama dealt with yesterday. And this is not to compare your situation to another's, but like, let's just be real here. Notre Dame did not play well throughout the course of yesterday, got beat. Okay? Penn State, Bowling Green, takes them to the fourth quarter. Did not have the definitive pull-away nature that Alabama did. Oregon took them to the last play to beat Boise State. So again, I'm not saying that Alabama should look over at other teams and say, oh, okay, we're all right. I'm not saying that. But I am saying if you are on the outside looking in as the college football public, there is something to be said for being an adult in the fourth quarter, not panicking, and having the ability to pull away. Again, it wasn't the cleanest game, but Jalen Milroe still accounting for 4 touchdowns. I still think he's in command of that offense. There's some things to clean up, but I'm excited to see his progress going forward. A lot of folks now, too, going to say, well, Kalen DeBoer, man, this wouldn't happen under Saban, this one and this. So we're sure he's the guy, it's the SEC, this, that, and the other. And you're like, okay, this was the same outfit in USF that, again, took Alabama to a 17-3 game. And it was close in that game as well, the duration of the game. Final score was not nearly as decisive. A lot of people now after that game, remember, because that was right after the Texas loss, so then you go out and play lackluster against USF, and Jalen Milroe's not playing in that game, and you're like, okay, like what is up with Alabama? The headline throughout that week was the demise of Bama. Bama's fallen off the map. And then that Alabama team very quickly turned it around, won the SEC, and was a few yards away from having a chance to go to the college football national title game. So what I'm trying to say here is, like, let's not put too much stock into a game against USF in week 2. Are there some things to clean up? Of course. Are you a lot happy cleaning those up after a win in that fashion and pulling away in the fourth quarter? Of course. You see the light bulb go on for Alabama. You saw it in the fourth quarter. Many teams, you did not see the light bulb ever go on yesterday. Alabama, it was like, okay, when it's time to turn it on, turned it on. Now you want to see them turn it on a lot quicker in the game, a lot earlier in the game, but it's encouraging that it went on. It's encouraging that the machine was eventually working how it was supposed to work in that fourth quarter. Now, I expect this Alabama team, just so we're on the same page, to trend a lot like previous Alabama teams have. I know Nick Saban is now very comfortably sitting on that College game day desk. He does a great job there, by the way, just full transparency. They're going to trend and play their best football at the right time. Now, they have a couple of good tests in front of them here. They're at Wisconsin next week. That'll be fun now. That'll be fun. Right now, I feel like Wisconsin and Bama will be a good matchup. I think I probably feel good about Alabama right now as it pertains to our early lean on that game. We'll give you our prediction on Tuesday, so another reason to be subscribed. We got a live show for you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, so tune in for that. You got a bye week after Wisconsin, and then the Georgia Bulldogs come to town. So there's a little bit of a runway here to kind of get everything ironed out. But again, seeing the light bulb go on, seeing Jalen Milroe have no panic, seeing the experienced parts of this football team look experienced in situations where they could have hit the panic button, I don't think you get too concerned just yet about the Crimson Tide playing with their foot a little bit, but ultimately finishing strong with a 42-16 victory over USF, turning the lights out on them, just like we turned the lights out behind us right now. Hey, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.